welcome to the Miami Heat Zone podcast. I'm your host, Martel Llewellyn. Guys, we're pushing on 4,000 subscribers. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and thank you for all the support. So today we have Amir from the Team to Beat Miami Heat channel on YouTube. Make sure you guys go to his channel, like, share, comment, subscribe. He just dropped his Tobin video. Make sure that you guys show him some love over there as well. So Amir, how are you doing today?
Doing good, man. Can't complain. How about yourself?
Great, man. So we got two questions for you today. The first one is, so I'm looking all over Heat Twitter, and Heat fans are absolutely upset that the Boston Celtics are going to win a championship. People are blaming, all these different types of reasons. They're blaming Pat Riley, the organization, Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo. They're also blaming injuries. They're saying that we didn't have a good roster pretty much around Jimmy, Bam, and Tyler. So why do you think the Miami Heat, after getting so close, 2 NBA Finals, 3 Eastern Conference Finals, why couldn't we get over the hump these past few years?
I think injuries and then bad contracts. Injuries is like the worst excuse, but it's facts. We've been one of the most injured teams in the past 2 seasons at least. I know we had last season like 36, 37 different starting lineups in 82 games. We were like the third most starting lineups besides like the Memphis Grizzlies, who had some like severe injuries. Like luckily, like none of our best players were out for the season, right? Or missed the majority of the season. Like they had Marcus Smart out, John Morant missed like 60 games, plus he was suspended. And they had Desmond Bain who had that major injury. So it makes sense for those teams. But the frustrating part was like we didn't have any like guys who were out for the year um, early on, essentially. Like Tyler was in and out, Jimmy was in and out, and a bunch of other guys missed like games here and there. But that was the thing. There's no continuity because, Jimmy would miss games for rest, load management, and then actual injuries. And then Caleb Martin would miss like 10 games, come back, and then he would get hurt, and then Hay would get hurt, and then Hawkins would get hurt. It was just no continuity. We get Terry Rozier in the lineup once we finally traded Kyle Lowry. So again, a bad contract, a decision made by the Miami Heat to appease Jimmy Butler, giving a 35-year-old who already showed signs at age 34-ish that he was slowing down, even though he won a championship, but he was on a stacked team with the Raptors, right? And he was like the third, fourth best player on that team anyway. So once we got Terry Rozier, like Tyler Hero got injured again, right? Like Tyler comes back, he gets hurt, and then Terry gets hurt. So I think continuity was a big thing, of course, and availability, as Pat Riley said, that was one of the biggest issues. But then the contracts, like giving Duncan Robinson that 5-year, $90 million contract, like obviously he's resurrecting his career, which has been great. But he was getting all those DMPs and out of the rotation completely, and we're relying on Max Strus, luckily, right? And then Gabe Vincent, luckily, are making up for a couple of those bad contracts. Like, is there any other ones that I'm missing right now? Like, obviously, Bam and Jimmy, those guys obviously. Oh, Tyler Hero. What am I saying? Now, kind of in hindsight, like we thought Tyler coming off the bench at age 21, right? Scoring 21 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. We thought this guy, like the sky's the limit for this dude. Maybe this guy can be that Booker, where he can get 25, 26 a game. He's doing it off the bench, but I think we gave him that 5-year extension a year too early, right? We should have waited to see because, again, even in his rookie year, 55 games. The second season, 58 games. Like he's played 64 or 67, I think, is the most. So those 3 contracts coupled in with the injuries, I think, is kind of what derailed us from winning a championship.
Yes, and then along also too with asset management, I think they've done a terrible job with their assets. Yes, they've hit off on all their draft picks, but just overall where, you know, when you look across the NBA, you need as many assets as possible. And it's kind of like what you said, like we can't really just bank on undrafted guys, and I think they've done that way too much. Has it worked? Yes. Have we seen success? Yes, but especially when you get to the NBA Finals or the Eastern Conference Finals, that's where you're going to see the best talent. And sometimes you're going to get just out talented. You're going to have, teams that have way more talented players just outwork you. And it is what it is. I think that's kind of what happened in the Denver series outside of Jimmy Butler's injury. So, yes, outside of injuries, bad asset management, bad contracts. I think those are some of the things that have definitely plagued the Miami Heat. And I guess you can also throw in there as well is that they really didn't do a good job in terms of upgrading the roster every single year around Jimmy Bam and Tyler, and they just added players like Kyle Lowry and Terry Rozier where they don't really fit or complement Jimmy Bam and Tyler. I think those are some of their biggest mistakes. So in terms of injuries, we see Nikola Jovic, strolling through the airport like in a walking boot. Can you tell us about that as well?
Yeah, so apparently he's obviously training off season. He just turned 21 years old, so happy birthday to Nico, super young still. And he mentioned areas that he can improve this off season. We talked to Tobin yesterday, and he was basically saying, "Hey, like my role right now is stretch four, basically, right? Open up the lanes for Jimmy, for Bam Adebayo, for Terry Tyler to get downhill." And so he's operated essentially as like a spot up shooter when he's out there. And of course, he can do the coast to coast transition thing. It was nice seeing someone 6'11" next to Bam Adebayo versus freaking PJ Tucker, Trevor Ariza, Jay Crowder, Caleb Martin, Jaime Jaquez, you name it, right? Guys who are like 6'6" and below. So we saw a taste of him operating as kind of like that point forward. But we have Jimmy, we have Bam, we have Terry, we have Tyler. Like, I'm sorry, like that's not going to be the optimal role for you. He's not going to be like that Lamar Odom on the Lakers, where it was like Kobe Bryant and Mark or Pau Gasol, excuse me, and he was that third perfect option because Derek Fisher, great role player, but he's not an elite point guard, actual
But
point
with
guard,
the
right?
walking boot, though, remember we saw him, strolling through the airport like with a walking boot. Can you tell us anything about that?
Yeah. So, but basically, so he was saying that this offseason, I need to not just learn how to shoot, like to get more involved. I need to learn how to dribble and all that stuff. So I'm sure he's working his ass off this offseason. So apparently, in a practice or workout, he must have landed on someone's foot wrong, and we see him in a walking boot. I think he's joining Serbia for the
FIBA tournament.
FIBA tournament right now. So he's in Belgrade. He was traveling, and I think as a precaution, they put him in a boot because also when you fly, usually with the elevation, it can help with or it can affect swelling and inflammation. So I think they're just being cautious. So there was a tweet. It was in Serbian. People were like, "What the hell? We need to like pull out Google Translate." And people were saying, "Hey, calm down. It's okay. Like it's just a precaution right now. Like we're trying to make sure there's no pressure on it. That's why he's on the thing. Um,
The walking boot and the scooter.
the scooter, that's the word I was trying to say. Yeah, like the boot obviously to stabilize, but like the scooter is like this guy's 6'11". That's a lot of weight, that he has to put on that foot. So like I think it's just like let's not put any weight on it so that he can heal faster and play in FIBA and then be ready for literally training camp in a few months. So I was scared when you messaged me and I saw this, and then I was like, oh shit, this is not good. But then I went to Heat Nation. They have an article out there saying, calm down. It's not like a torn Achilles. It's not like a broken or fractured foot. It's just most likely a slight sprain. They're just being extra cautious.
Well, thank you so much, Amir, for coming on the show. Guys, make sure you go to his channel, like, share, comment, subscribe. He will be tagged in the title. And thank you for all the support.